message our friends, or reply to emails. We are constantly communicating. But here's the real question: how many of us are truly effective at it? And that's exactly what we are going to explore today. So, communication skills are absolutely essential in every aspect of our lives. Just think about it, whether you are in a personal relationship, working on a team, preparing for an interview, or even resolving a small disagreement with friends. Okay, so in all these things, communication plays the deciding role. If we can communicate clearly and respectfully, problems will solve faster, relationship grows stronger, and opportunities will come our way. But if we lack these skills, even the simplest things can lead to big misunderstandings. Now, let's pause and think of a common example. Imagine you are explaining an idea to your team in college or at work. You speak quickly, use complicated words, and don't check whether other understood. What will happen? People will absolutely get confused and also may lose interest. But if you take the same idea and explain it step by step in just simple words and also listen to their responses or feedbacks, suddenly the team and people present there will feel included and your ideas will be much more powerful. This is the difference between just talking or actually communicating. In today's interconnected world, communication goes far beyond face to face conversations. We use emails, text, calls, video meetings, or like even social media. This makes mastering communication even more crucial because now your words and tone reach people you may never even meet in person. That's why it's not only about what you say, but also how you say, your tone of voice, your body language, and your ability to listen. A good communicator always remember speaking is only half the job. Listening is the other half, which creates a whole thing. Let's look at the key points highlighted here. First, foundation of relationships. Communication is like the glue that holds relationships together, right? So think of a friendship where people stop talking. What will happen? Slowly the misunderstandings will build up and the bond will absolutely get weak. But in relationships where people share openly, express feelings, and active listening, this is the main thing. Actively listens to each other, trust grows. Second one, health in career growth. You might be the smartest person in the room, but if you cannot explain your ideas, it's hard to grow. Employers today look for people who can not only do the work but also have skills to communicate about it, whether in interviews, meetings, or client interactions. Effective communication often becomes in the difference between being an average person and being a leader for the team. Let's come to the third one, which is builds trust and understanding. What does it mean? So, trust doesn't happen overnight. It comes with a lot of things. When people feel that you respect them, listen to them, and are honest in your words with them. Good example is a teacher who doesn't just lecture a topic but also listens to students about their doubt and they build that, like yeah, whenever a teacher listens to the feedbacks and also the doubts and she solves that, what that builds a sense of safety and respect in the classroom and towards each other. Let's come to the fourth one, which is essential for teamwork. We all know that teamwork is impossible without communication, right? So imagine a group project where no one clarifies role. What will be the results? Everyone will either repeat the same tasks or leave things unfinished. But with clear communication, like assigning roles, discussing progress, and checking in regularly, can make teamwork become smooth, efficient, and even enjoyable. So as you begin with this journey into communication skills, remember that it is not just about speaking fluently in English or using impressive words. It is about connecting with people, making them feel heard, and ensuring that your and their message is clear. With practice, anyone can improve these skills. and the impact will show in every area of life, such as relationships, career, teamwork, and personal confidence. Okay, so I want to leave this slide with this thought. Communication is not a talent you are born with, it's a skill you can build. The more you practice, the stronger it becomes. And as we go further, we will see different ways to strengthen these skills and use them effectively in our daily life. Okay, so now that we have understood what communication is, let's move into its role in our personal and professional life. This is one area where communication can truly make or break your growth. Think about it. Most jobs in today's world don't just require technical expertise. I'm sorry. They require interaction with colleagues, manager, and clients. And in all those situations, your ability to communicate clearly and respectfully matters a lot, sometimes more than your technical skills. In the workplace, effective communication helps reducing errors and increase the productivity. For an example, imagine a team working on a deadline. If instructions are not clear, one person may waste time repeating someone else's task, while another may miss something important, and that is what called miscommunication. And it directly causes delay, stress, and even financial loss. On the other hand, if communication is precise, everyone knows their role, work process will flow smoothly and the results will be much better.
Hello?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm sorry.
You're not audible.
Yeah, ma'am, actually, yeah.
Okay, please wait, guys.
Okay, so let's continue. Professionals who can articulate the ideas confidently and are often trusted more by both managers and teammates. People naturally look to them as leaders. This is why strong communication is considered as one of the top skills in employers' value today. A good communicator doesn't just say that what they need, they inspire others, bring clarity, and create trust. Now let's walk through the points listed on the slide. First one is reduces workplace misunderstandings. Misunderstandings are one of the biggest causes of our workplace stress. For example, if a manager gives vague instructions like finish it quickly, every team member might have a different interpretation or something like what does they mean by the quickly. Some might think one day or others can think a week even. That confusion can be avoided if communication is specific. So instead of saying finish it quickly, we can say please complete this report by tomorrow evening. This will make everyone clear with every instruction and also the timeline. Second one, builds leadership qualities. Leadership isn't only about making decisions, it's about guiding people, giving them feedback, and motivating them. All that requires excellent communication. Leaders who communicate openly are seen as approachable, trustworthy, and effective. On the other hand, poor communication can make a leader seem distant, or even unfair. Let's come to the third one. Strengthens professional relationships. Work isn't just about tasks. It's all about people. The relationships you build at work with your colleagues, seniors, or clients, it depends largely on communication. Simple habits like active listening, acknowledging others' input, and giving constructive feedbacks build strong bonds. Strong relationship can lead to better teamwork, career growth, and a positive work environment. Let's come to the fourth one. Encourages collaboration. Collaboration means working together towards a common goal. And for collaboration to succeed, People need to share ideas, raise concerns, and respect difference between. Without good communication, collaboration falls apart because team members hesitate to speak or misunderstand each other's intentions. But when communication is open and respectful, collaboration becomes creative and productive. So, to sum up it, communication in professional life is more than just talking. It is about reducing misunderstandings, showing leadership, building relationships, and encouraging collaboration. The truth is, even the most skilled employee may struggle to grow if they cannot communicate effectively. But someone who communicates clearly, respectfully, and confidently will always stand out. I want you to think about this. Every email you write, every presentation you deliver, and every conversation you have with your manager, these all are not just routine tasks. They all are opportunities to show professionalism in your through communication. By improving both verbal and non-verbal communication, you don't just avoid mistakes, you also set the foundation for trust and long-term success in your career. So remember a thing, good communication is not just a nice to have in the workplace. It is an essential ingredient for professional success. Now let's move into module 1. This section is extremely important because before we talk about advanced strategies, we need to master the basics. Just like in any subject, you can say math, sports, or music, science, everything. Without strong fundamentals, higher level skills don't last. The same is for true communication. The fundamentals of communication are threefold: verbal communication, written communication, and listening. These three areas form the backbone of how we interact with others. If any one of them is weak, communication can break down. Let's talk them one by one. Verbal clarity and tone. When we speak, the words we choose are important, but so are clarity and tone. Imagine going for an interview. If you speak softly, mumble, or sound unsure, even great ideas might not be taken seriously. You know that a tone can change the meaning of words entirely. For example, saying fine with a smile means something completely different than saying fine in a frustrated tone. That's why mastering tone control is critical. To improve verbal clarity, practice speaking slowly, pausing at the right time for like commas, full stop, and all. Avoiding fillers words like or or like. All right. To improve tone, record yourself speaking. Listen to it and notice if your voice sounds friendly, confidently, or nervous. Okay, so come to the second one, professional written style. Written communication is equally important, especially in the professional world. Emails, reports, resumes, and even WhatsApp messages in a work group reflect your personality. The basics of personality, like the basics of professionalism in your personality, is a clear structure and a respectful tone. For example, compare these two emails. Okay, so send me the file ASAP, or hi, could you please share the file by 5 p.m. today? Thanks. Both ask for the same thing, but the second one shows professionalism and respect. The small difference in tone can shape how others view you. Also, good written communication saves time. If your message is unclear, people will keep asking follow-up questions which delays the work. Let's come to the third one, active and empathetic listening. Listening is often the most ignored part of communication. Many people hear words, but they don't really listen. Active listening means giving your full attention, not interrupting, and responding in a way that shows you understood. For example, For example, if a manager gives instructions and you nod without asking clarifying questions, but later make mistakes, it shows you didn't listen actively. On the other hand, if you listen carefully, repeat back key points. So you had like me to finish the report by tomorrow, including the graphs, right? You show you are engaged and responsible. Empathetic listening goes one step further. It means understanding the feelings behind the words. For example, if a teammate says, I'm struggling with this task, you don't just reply with okay. You respond with empathy. I understand it's tough. Let's see how we can work on it together. That makes people feel valued. Fourth, strong foundation for growth. The reason we focus on these fundamentals is that they are the building blocks for everything else. Without clear speaking, good writing, and active listening, you cannot succeed in your higher level skills like negotiating, conflict management, or leadership communication. Just think of it like building a house. All right. If the foundation is weak, the structure won't stand for long. Similarly, if your communication fundamentals are weak, you might struggle with more complex situations. But if your foundation is strong, you can adapt to any professional or personal challenge with confidence. Interactive pause. At this point, I had like you to reflect on your I'm sorry. At this point, I had like you like I would like you to reflect on your own strengths and weaknesses. Just ask yourself, am I confident when I speak in front of others? Do I pay attention to emails and messages before sending them? Do people around me feel that I really listen to them? These are the questions that help us identify where to improve. Remember, communication is not just about being perfect, it's about being clear, respectful, and effective. Okay, so in the summary, the fundamentals of communication include verbal clarity and tone, which is speaking in a clear, confident, and appropriate manner. Professional written styles, writing with a proper grammar, structure, and respect. Active and empathetic listening, truly paying attention and understanding both words and emotions. Strong foundation for growth, building the base that will help you master advanced communication skills later. Okay, so now let's take a closer look at verbal communication. Verbal communication includes tone, clarity, and pace. Tone sets the mood. Are you confident, friendly, angry, or nervous? Clarity ensures your audience understands you without confusion. And pace, speaking too fast or too slow affects how well people follow your message. Let's go through the main points here. Okay, so tone and clarity. It actually matters. For example, saying I'll handle it in a confident tone builds trust, but saying the same words in a doubtful tone may make people question your ability. Clear pronunciation and simple words make your message stronger. Adapt to audience. A good speaker changes their style depending on who they are talking to. If you're speaking with children, you use simple words and examples. If you're presenting to professionals, you use formal language and structured points. Adapting to your audience always makes your message more impactful and powerful. Fosters trust. People always trust the one who sound confident, genuine, and of course real. If your words and tone match, your audience will believe you. For example, a doctor who explains calmly and clearly earns more trust from patients than one who rushes or sounds impatient. That creates an image of being unaware or not confident on the solution or the medication. And due to that, people resist going to them because of lack of trust. Practice improves delivery. Verbal communication is like a skill. It gets better with practice. Reading aloud, rehearsing before presentations, and even recording yourself can help improve articulation, confidence, and fluency. It also reduces the chance of mistakes you may create on the stage. So, so the So, the takeaway is this: verbal communication is more than just speaking. It's about adjusting your tone, pace, and words so that your audience not only hear you but also understands and trusts you. And the best part is, with consistent practice, and anyone can become a better verbal communicator. Okay, so now that we know that what verbal communication is, let's talk about its techniques we can use to improve it. Remember, verbal communication is not something we are just born with. It's a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice and feedback. The technique listed here can make a huge difference in how effectively you speak, whether in public or in day to day conversations. Let's go through them one by one. First, practice public speaking. Public speaking is one of the best ways to sharpen your verbal communication. Many people feel nervous while speaking in front of others, but practicing will help you in reducing the fear a lot. For example, you could start by rehearsing a small speech in front of a mirror, then try speaking to a friend, and slowly build to larger groups. A good tip I just want to suggest is to record yourself and then listen to it. You will notice these things like filler words, such as like these fillers, can distract your audience from the main message. Practicing speeches not only improves clarity but also boosts the confidence. Second, control pitch and pace. The way we deliver matters. The way we deliver it matters a lot. If you speak too fast, people may struggle to follow. Too slow, they may lose interest. Similarly, a flat pitch can make you sound dull, while a varied pitch adds energy and keeps people engaged. For instance, just speaking, like just think of a great motivational speaking. They not speaking speakers. They raise their voice for emphasis and lower it to create suspense. By controlling pitch and pace, you can hold or even control the audience attention. I would like to suggest that you should also try like reading a paragraph with different tones like serious, friendly, or excited, and then notice how the meaning changes instantly. Third, use stories and examples. Stories are powerful tools in communication, which I already mentioned in the previous session, if you remember. People may forget facts, but they never forget the stories behind it. For example, if I just tell you listening is important, you may nod and move on. But what if I share a story about how a manager avoided a big mistake simply because he listened to his employees' warning and that message sticks? Okay, so let's come to the fourth one. Maintain confident posture. Verbal communication is not just about words, it's also about body language. Posture, eye contact, and gestures are like these all add weight to your message. If you slouch, avoid eye contact, or look nervous, even powerful words lose impact. But standing tall, making eye contact, and using open gestures show confidence and credibility. For example, during an interview, if you answer confidently but avoid looking at the interviewer, it creates doubt. On the other hand, good posture and steady eye contact reinforce your confidence. Okay, so just bringing it all together, when you combine these techniques, practicing speeches, controlling your pitch and pace, adding stories, and using confident posture, you can create a strong and impactful verbal style. These skills are not only useful for public speaking but also for daily interactions like team discussions, negotiations, or even casual conversations. Think of a communication as a performance. Your words are the script, your tone and pace are the music, and your body language is the stage presence. Together, they determine how your message is received. So the key takeaway is like mastering verbal communication techniques requires practice and self-awareness. The more you apply these skills, the more natural they become. And over time, you will notice that people listen more attentively, trust you more, and engage better with your ideas. Okay, so now let's focus on what is written communication. You all know what is, but let me give you exposure of it. This is one of the most important forms of communication in both academic and professional life. Unlike spoken words, which disappear once said, written words as stays as record. That's why they need to be accurate, professional, and well structured, and also clear. Before someone meets you, what's the first impression they might have? It could be your CV, an email, or a report you have submitted first. That means your writing often speaks before you do. Let's look at the points mentioned here. Emails and report matters. All right, and of course, emails are the backbone of professional communication today. A single email can influence how others see you. For example, if you write send file now, it sounds rude and unprofessional. No one take it seriously or submit the files between time frame given. But if you write, hi, could you please share the file by 4 p.m. today? Thanks in advance. It shows respect, clarity, and professionalism. Reports are just as important. They present information, analysis, or data. A well-written report saves time because it is easy to read, and understand. A poorly written report, on the other hand, confuses the reader and may lead to wrong decisions. Quick activity for you. Just imagine you are writing to your professor or boss. Would you write the same way you text your friends? Obviously not. That's the difference between professional writing makes. Okay, so the second one is error-free writing. Okay, yeah. Just one of the simplest yet most powerful habits in written communication is ensuring your words is free of mistakes, which is commonly known as proofread. Spelling errors, missing punctuations, or grammar slips may look small, but they can harm your credibility and change the meaning of the sentence. For example, if your resume says detail oriented instead of detail oriented, the irony itself can cost you an opportunity. Okay, so let's move to the third one, well structured content. Now, being error free is not enough. Your writing also needs to be well organized. Think of a writing like give directions. If you explain step by step, the person will reach the destination easily. If you give the direction randomly, they'll get lost. A strong structure usually includes a clear introduction, a logical body, a concise conclusion. Also, formatting matters a lot. Just trust me. Formatting matters a lot. Short paragraphs, bullet points, and headings makes reading easier. Compare a big block of text with a nicely structured one. The second one always wins. Fourth, improves credibility. Finally, strong writing directly builds your credibility. When your emails, assignments, or reports are clear and professional, people trust you more. They see you as a reliable and thoughtful. For example, just think about two managers sending updates. Okay, let's take the manager as A and B. Okay, so manager A writes a one-line confusing note. Work almost done, update later. What does it mean even? Okay, so manager B writes, the project is 80% complete. Remaining tasks include testing and documentation, which will be finished by Friday. You got now what they done and what is left to be done. Why do you think the teammates will trust more? Like, who do you think? Definitely manager B, because the communication is precise and confident. Okay, so let's recap what we have learned in this slide. Email and reports matters. They create first impression, right? Error-free writing. Small mistakes can make a big difference. Well-structured content, good organization makes your message easy to follow, improves credibility. Strong writing makes people see you as professional and dependable. Written communication is not about using fancy words or impressive words. It's about expressing ideas clearly, respectfully, and in a way that builds trust. It's one of the quietest yet strongest skills you can develop. Okay, so I really want you to remember this. Your words remain long after you have written them. So make sure they always represent you in the best way possible. Now, let's talk about written communication best practices. This is one of the most important part of communication because unlike spoken words, written messages remain as a record. An email, a report, or even a text can be saved, reread, and judged later. So, how we write really shapes how others see us. Okay, so I'm going to cover four main practices that make writing professional and effective. First, use clear language. The first and most important rule is be clear. Clarity means avoiding long, confusing sentences and fancy words that really don't add value but make it vague. For example, let's compare these two lines. I'm going to tell you the complex one. Yeah, we are endeavoring to ascertain the feasibility of the proposed strategy. Can you get it? Like the fancy words and like no value actually. Just let me tell you the simple one. What does it actually mean? We are checking if the strategy will work. What will people get faster? Like which one will people get faster? Of course, the simple one. Okay, so now let's move to the second one. Organize information. The second practice is about structure. A well-structured message is clear, like much easier and clear to understand than a block of text. Think of a long email with no breaks, no headings, just one huge paragraph. Most readers will skip it. Of course, even I can do. But if you break it into short sections using headings, bullet points, and spacing, people can read it clearly and quickly, and even they can understand it better. Okay, so for an example, instead of writing a long report in paragraph form, try breaking it into sections like background, analysis, and recommendation, which can create a huge impact also on yourself and on the document you have shared. A good habit is to imagine your reader is in a hurry. Ask yourself if they only skim my message, will they still understand the key points? If yes, you have organized it really well. The third one, proofread carefully. The third best practice is proofreading. Even small mistakes can create a big negative impression. Imagine sending an email that says, I look forward to hearing from you instead of hearing from you. A tiny error in a spelling can, like, can you understand what can it make the difference? That's why proofreading is essential. Here's a three-step check you can follow before sending. Check spelling and grammar. Check tone. Is it polite, respectful, and professional? Check clarity. Will the reader get the message in one read? Let's move to the last one, adapt style audience. Finally, a very important skill, adapt your writing to the audience. You cannot write in the same way to everyone. If you're if you're emailing your professor or boss, you will use formal and respectful language. If you're messaging a teammate, you may use a friendly, slightly casual tone. If you're writing for your clients, your tone should be professional but also warm and reassuring. Whether it's like any kind of message which can like show you that you're not even happy with their thing and all, but you have to be calm and warm and reassuring. This adaptability shows emotional intelligence. It tells people that you respect them and understand the context. Okay, so the four best practices you got: use clear language, organize information, proofread carefully, and adapt style to audience. If you apply these consistently, your speaking won't just look professional. It will build credibility, respect, and trust. Remember, in the professional world, your words are your brand. Every email, every report, and every message leaves an impression of who you are. So take the extra minute to polish your writing. That 1 minute can make a huge difference in how people perceive you. Now let's move to the active listening. We often think listening is simple, right? But you just hear what someone says. But we often think listening in like yeah, but we often think active listening is not difference or like it doesn't create difference. It's a simple thing. But yeah, active listening is very different. It means giving your full attention, interpreting both words and body language, and responding thoughtfully. Why is it important? Because when people feel truly listened to and they feel valued, respected, and understood in both personal and professional life, it builds trust and reduces mistakes. Also, the misunderstandings too. Let's break down the key parts. Full attention to the speaker. Active listening starts with giving someone your undivided attention. That means putting away distractions like phones, avoiding side conversations, and maintaining eye contact. Okay, so just imagine explaining a problem to your manager, but they are checking their phone while you speak, or even scrolling the reels. Even if they hear your words, you will feel ignored. Now, imagine the same manager looking directly at you, nodding, and showing interest. You'd feel respected. How many of you have felt ignored because someone wasn't paying full attention to you, like when you spoke? This shows why full attention matters. Exactly now. Okay, so the second one, interpret cues. Listening isn't just about words. People also communicate through tone, facial expressions, gestures, and pauses. Active listening pick up on these cues. For an example, if a colleague says, "I'm fine," but their tone is low and their shoulders are slouched, the real message is different. An active listener notices that and gently asks them, "Are you sure? You don't seem okay." This deeper level of listening helps you respond with empathy instead of just reacting to words. Okay, so the third one is show empathy. Empathy is about putting yourself in the other person's shoes. It means not just understanding their words, but also like their feelings. For instance, if a friend says, "I messed up my presentation," an active listener would just say, "Oh, okay, I'm feeling sad." Instead, they might respond, "That must have felt really stressful. Do you want me to talk about what went wrong?" Notice the difference. The second response validates their feeling and builds trust. So the fourth one is enhances teamwork. In professional settings, active listening directly improves teamwork. When team members listen to each other, they avoid misunderstandings, reduce conflicts, and collaborate more effectively. Think of a group project. If one member feels their ideas are constantly ignored, they will stop contributing. Of course, they will because no one is listening to them. But when each and every member feels heard, motivated, and productivity will absolutely increase. Leaders who practice active listening often create stronger and more loyalty. Employees feel valued, which boosts morale and reduces turnover. Okay, so to recap, active listening means full attention to the speaker, right? It requires interpreting both verbal and non-verbal cues. It shows empathy, making people feel understood, and it strengthens teamwork in professional environment. Okay, now that we have understood the importance, let's go deeper into some practical techniques. We look at four key techniques: avoiding interruptions, maintaining eye contact, asking clarifying questions, and paraphrasing to confirm understanding. So the first one is avoid interruption. One of the biggest barrier to active listening is interrupting the speaker. Sometimes we cut in because we are excited to share our thoughts, or we assume we already know that they will say. But interruption make people feel unheard and often discourage them from opening up. For example, if a colleague is explaining a problem at work and you jump in a mid sentence with your solution, they may feel like you didn't value their perspective and want to wrap up each and everything and often discourages them. Okay, what is the second one? Maintain eye contact. Okay. The second technique is maintaining eye contact, which is a signal attentiveness and presence. It tells the speaker, I'm fully here with you. This doesn't mean staring intensely, but rather maintaining a comfortable and natural level of eye contact combined with nodding or small expressions that show you're following. For an example, imagine sharing something personal with a friend who keeps glancing at their phone. If they claim they are listening, their lack of eye contact make you feel ignored. Compare that to someone who looks at you and nod occasionally, you instantly feel valued. Ask clarifying questions. A very effective listening is asking clarifying questions, which is also slightly mean as feedbacks. Sometimes we think we understood what the other person meant, but our interpretation could be different. Asking gentle question avoids assumptions. For instance, instead of just nodding, you can say, or you can ask, when you said the project was challenging, do you mean the deadlines were tight or the task itself was complex? This shows genuine interest and also ensures you understood the message correctly. It prevents miscommunication and the conversation, deepens the conversation. So the fourth one and the last one, paraphrase to confirm understanding. Finally, paraphrasing is one of the strongest active listening tools. It means repeating back in your own words what the speaker said and what you heard and what you understood. This confirms that you understood them correctly and gives them a chance to clarify if needed. For example, speaker says, I'm really stressed about managing both work and personal responsibilities. Listener must say, or if they are following them, they will say, so you're feeling overwhelmed by balancing your job and home life. This is what they said in their personal words instead of just repeating that. The simple reflection shows empathy and makes the speaker feel validated. It also clears up any confusion about the real message. Okay, so just quickly remember, like quickly recall what we have learned. Avoid interruption, which means let the speaker finish before responding. Maintaining eye contact, show alternatives, like show attentiveness. I'm really sorry. Show attentiveness through non-verbal cues. Ask clarifying questions. Ensure you really understood. Paraphrase. Repeat in your own words to confirm understanding. When you combine these four techniques, you can create conversations that are most respectful, most productive, and most meaningful. Active listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about making people feel valued. Practicing these techniques daily will not only improve your communication, but also strengthen your relationships, whether at work, school, or in professional life. Okay, so let's just move to non-verbal communication. It is something all of us practice daily without even realizing it. It's not just about we say, like what we say, but how we say it and how our body supports or sometimes contradicts the words. Studies often point out that a large portion of communication is non-verbal, showing us that gestures, expressions, and tone can sometimes speak louder than actual words. Okay, so gesture plays an important role in like supporting like our words. Simple example: waving to greet, a thumbs up to show approval, or clapping to show appreciation are are universally understood. Okay, and also the body language. Yeah, it actually matters. Think about a situation where someone walks into a room with their shoulders straight, making eye contact and smiling. Instantly, we perceive them as confident and approachable. Tone conveys emotion. Tone of voice can completely change the meaning of a message. If I say I'm fine in a cheerful tone, it feels reassuring. But if I say the same word in a flat or irritated tone, it clearly means I'm not fine and going through something. Silence. Silence is often underestimated in communication, but it can be a very powerful. Think about a moment of silence uses. It shows respect and empathy towards the news and also towards the person happened with. In conversation, pausing before responding shows that you are thinking immediately can avoid escalation. Silence also gives the other person space, which can make communication more meaningful. So, silence isn't the absence of communication, it is another form of it. Okay, so I have written some really meaningful and things which can make you a very good and a professional person. Just by doing these things, you can have a great impact on your life and what people see you. Eye contact. It is one of the most powerful non-verbal signals. When you look someone in the eye while speaking, it shows confidence, honesty, and attentiveness. On the other hand, avoiding eye contact may signal nervousness, lack of interest, or even dishonesty. Gestures are another important layer of communication. They help to emphasize and clearly clarify what we are saying. For example, pointing attention. Open hand gestures can show openness, and nodding to a signal. Gestures can make our speech more dynamic and memorable. Imagine listening to someone speak without moving their hands or changing expression. It feels flat, like whether they are even interested in telling us. Tone of a voice can often reveal more than the actual words spoken. The pitch, volume, and speed all contribute to the message. For instance, a warm, enthusiastic tone conveys positivity and excitement, while a flat tone might signal boredom or disinterest. Cultural play. Culture plays a huge role in shaping non-verbal communication. What is considered polite or confident in one culture may be interpreted different in another. For example, direct eye contact is seen as respectful and confident in Western cultures. But in some Asian cultures, too much eye contact can be seen as disrespect. Similarly, hand gestures like thumbs up are positive in many places but offensive in others. Okay, so to sum up the details of non-verbal communication, eye contact, gestures, tone, and cultural context, all contribute to how messages are received. Being mindful of these signals help us communicate with more clarity, confidence, and respect. Remember, the effectiveness of your communication doesn't just depend on your words. It depends on the complete package you deliver, both verbal and non-verbal, like gestures, tone, and all. The more aware you are of these details, the stronger your communication skills will be. Okay, so today we live in a digital first world where much of our communication happens through technology, like email, instant messages or video calls. So let's look at the essentials of digital equity. Digital communication covers multiple platforms like formal email, quick chat, or collaborative tools like Teams, Slack, or WhatsApp groups. Each of these requires slightly different etiquette. Emails, for example, are often more informal and are often more formal and should include a greeting, structured content, a proper closing. On the other hand, chat platforms can be shorter and more direct. Okay, so let's move to the professionalism. Professionalism is the foundation of digital communication. Even when using fast communication channels, we need to avoid overly casual language, slang, or abbreviation that could be misunderstood. For example, instead of writing, "Hey, what's up? What the project with the project?" A more professional approach would be, "Hello, could you please share an update on the project quickly?" Small differences like these show respect. Let's move to the third one. Tone must be clear. One of the biggest challenges in digital communication is tone. Without body language or vocal cues, messages can easily be misinterpreted. For example, if you reply with just fine in an email or chat, the other person may feel you are upset, even if you didn't mean it that way. To make tone clear, it's important to add context. Instead of saying okay, you could say, "Okay, that works for me. Thanks for letting me know." This sounds positive and cooperative. The fourth one, timely responses matters. Another key part of etiquette is responding on time. Delayed responses can create confusion, reduce productivity, and even seem disrespectful. Of course, you may not always have the full answer immediately, but even a short acknowledgement like, "Got your mail, I'll get back to you by tomorrow," shows responsibility. Okay, so to summarize, the digital communication etiquette includes adapting to different platforms, maintaining professionalism in every message, ensuring tone is respectful and clear. In the digital age, how we communicate online is a reflection how we like who we are. So let's remember, clear, respectful, and timely communication is not just a skill; it's a professional responsibility. Okay. In this fast-paced digital world, most of our communication happens over emails, like email messages and virtual platforms. The way we communicate online reflects our professionalism and respect towards others. So the first is use greetings in email. First, let's talk about using greetings in email. Just like in face-to-face conversations, A greeting sets the tone for the interaction. Imagine walking into a meeting and standing to talk without saying hello. It would feel abrupt and impolite. Similarly, I'm really sorry. Similarly, in digital communication, adding a greeting like dear and with the name or hello team immediately makes your message polite and approachable. It shows respect and helps the recipient feel valued. Next, avoiding slangs is crucial in digital communication, particularly in professional environments. While it might be okay to use casual words with friends, slang can create confusion or seem unprofessional in formal exchange. For example, writing "Hey, what's up" in a work mail doesn't even convey the seriousness that may be required. Instead of something like "I hope you're doing well," sounds much more polished and respectful. Another important point is keeping messages concise. In the digital world, everyone is busy, and long-winded emails or messages can often frustrate the reader. The key is to get straight to the point without being rude. For example, instead of writing three paragraphs to explain a simple update, summarize it in exactly two or three lines. Being concise also makes your communication more effective, and because of the reader doesn't have to spend extra time figuring out what do you exactly mean. Finally, let's discuss respecting virtual boundaries. Just because we have access to digital platforms 24/7 doesn't mean we can message or email people at any hour. Respecting time zones, working hours, and personal boundaries is very important. For instance, sending a non-urgent email late at night might disturb someone or create unnecessary stress. Similarly, avoid over messaging or spamming in group chats. So, to sum up, digital communication works best when we combine professionalism with respect. Use proper greetings, avoid slangs, keep your message concise. Okay, storytelling. What is it? It is really more than entertainment. It's a powerful tool for leaders, professionals, and anyone who needs to connect with others. On this slide, you will see an overview of why storytelling is so effective in communication. First, engage emotions. One of the biggest strengths of storytelling is, is its ability to engage emotions. Facts and figures are really important, but they don't have always don't always sticks in people's mind. A story, however, makes people feel something, whether it's it's excitement, empathy, or inspiration. For example, think about a good leader announcing a new initiative. Instead of only sharing the numbers, they might tell a story, but about how the project will impact a customer or an employee. That that emotional connection makes the message more memorable and motivate people to act. Second, simplifies concept. Another benefit is that stories help simplify complex ideas. Many times in business or leadership, we deal with strategies, processes, or technical concepts that can be overwhelmed. Using a story makes those ideas easier to understand. For instance, instead of explaining a complex workflow step by step, you could tell the story of a single employee navigating the process. Third, useful in leadership. Storytelling is especially powerful in leadership. Leaders are not just responsible for managing tasks, they also need to inspire and guide people. A good story can bring a vision to life, making people believe in it and want to contribute. Fourth, adds authenticity. Finally, storytelling adds authenticity. Audience can usually tell when someone feels rehearsed or artificial, but when you share a real story, especially a personal one, it creates credibility. People connect with honesty. Even a short personal can strengthen a message. For example, a manager sharing their own first day struggles makes them more approachable and relatable. Authenticity builds trust, and trust strengthens communication. So let's move to the next slide. Now that we have looked at the general benefits of storytelling, let's shift to how it works specially. Okay, so businesses use stories to pitch ideas, inspire teams, build customer trust, and even make data more relatable. So let's have a look on first one, used in pitches and branding. First, let's talk about pitches and branding. Think about a startup pitching to investors. If they only share spreadsheets, revenue projections, and technical details, it's really dry. But if they tell a story, say about the problem they faced and how their product changed lives, it suddenly becomes engaging and memorable. Second, leaders also rely on the stories to inspire team. Facts and directives alone rarely motivate people. But a well-chosen story can spark energy and vision. For example, a leader introducing a change initiative might share a story about a team that successfully overcame challenges in the past. Third one, builds customer trust. Another powerful use of storytelling is building customer trust. Customers don't just buy a product, they buy into stories. When a business shares real customer success stories, it shows authenticity and proof of value. You might have saw like many of the brands they are selling water filters and all. Have you like seen the even reels or something like they're telling a story about a person who can like who goes from like getting bald to getting a full head like scar to getting with full hairs. These are the things which like attract customers, make data relatable. Finally, storytelling that make data relatable, numbers alone can feel overwhelming or impersonal. But if you wrap data inside a story, people understand it better and remember it longer. So in businesses, storytelling can transform how we pitch ideas, inspire employees, gain customer trust, and even make data meaningful. When we combine facts with stories, our communication becomes much more powerful. As you think about your own roles, consider where you can weave stories into your pitches, branding efforts, and everyday leadership conversations. Okay, so we have just seen how storytelling makes communication powerful. But it's also important to recognize that communication doesn't always flow smoothly. On this slide, we will explore some of the most common barriers to communication, and why being aware of them is the first step in overcoming them. First, physical barriers. These are the most straightforward things like poor audio on a call, background noise in a busy office, or even geographical distance when teams are spread across the time zone. For example, think about a virtual meeting where the microphones keeps cutting out. The message gets lost and people miss key points. Physical barriers might seem small, but over time they can cause frustration and inefficiency. One way to reduce physical barriers is by investing in better technology, creating quiet meeting spaces, or simply double checking the communication channels are working properly before starting. Second, emotional barriers. These are less visible but often more damaging. If someone is stressed, anxious, or feeling undervalued, they may struggle to listen or express themselves clearly. Similarly, strong emotions like anger can cloud judgment and create conflict. For instance, imagine giving constructive feedback to a colleague who is already under stress. Even if your message is positive, they might interrupt if deficient. Okay, so the third one is cultural barriers. Cultural barriers are increasingly important in today's global workplace. These occur when difference in language, values, or customs create misunderstandings. For example, in some cultures, direct eye contact shows confidence, while in others can be can be considered as disrespectful. Or take language, certain idioms or slang might not translate well across cultures, leading to confusion. Fourth one, cause misunderstandings. All of these barriers, physical, emotional, and cultural, ultimately cause understandings like misunderstandings. Misunderstandings waste time, create conflicts, and in business can even cost money or damage relationships. So, to summarize, communication barriers come in many forms like physical obstacles, emotional stress, cultural differences, and they all have the potential to cause misunderstandings by identifying and addressing them. So on the previous slide, we talked about barriers that block communication. Things like physical obstacle, emotional stress, and all. But here's the good news: barriers can be overcome. This slide focuses on the solution. First, active listening helps. One of the most powerful solutions is active listening. Too often, we listen just enough to reply rather than truly understanding the other person. Active listening means giving your full attention, making eye contact, nodding, and even paraphrasing what you have heard to confirm understanding. For example, instead of jumping in with advice immediately, you might say, "So what I'm hearing is that you're concerned about the project timeline. Is that right?" That simple confirmation reduces the risk of miscommunication. Okay, so the second one is encourage openness. Another key solution is creating an environment of openness. People are more willing to share ideas or concerns when they feel safe from judgment. Leaders especially can encourage openness by asking for feedbacks, welcoming questions and doubts, and showing appreciation when people speak up. Okay, so the third one, use simple language. Language can also be a barrier, especially in diverse workplace. That's why using simple and clear language and avoiding jargons and fancy words is such an effective solution. It doesn't mean dumbing things down. It means avoiding unnecessary jargons, acronyms, or complex explanations. Simple language ensures that everyone, regardless of background, can follow along. The last one, remove distractions. Removing distractions is essential. Even the best message can be lost if the environment isn't conducive or to communication. Distraction can be physically, like background noise, or mental, such as checking phones during a conversation. A distraction free environment allows the message to come through clearly. To wrap this up, overcoming barriers isn't about eliminating all challenges. It's about applying solutions like active listening, encouraging openness, using simple words, and removing distraction. These strategies don't just solve communication problems, they also build stronger relationships and trust. Feedback and criticism. These are one of the most powerful tools for growth, both personally and professionally. When done poorly, it can cause defensiveness, conflict, and even disengagement. On this slide, we will look at the essentials of giving and receiving feedbacks effectively. First is vital for growth. Feedback is vital for growth because it provides insight into how we are doing and where we can improve. Without it, people may continue making the same mistakes without realizing it. When feedback is positioned as a tool for growth Rather than criticism, people are more likely to embrace it and act on it. Second one should be specific. The second key is really specific. Vague feedbacks like you need to do better isn't helpful. It leaves the person unsure of what to change. Effective feedback should be concrete, focusing on behaviors, not personal traits. For example, instead of saying you're not a good communicator, you might see, or you can say instead, in yesterday's meeting, some points were unclear. Try summarizing key takeaways at the end. This makes the feedback clear, actionable, and responsible. The third one, balance positiveness and negatives. Another important solution is balance. Feedback that's only negative can feel discouraging, while feedback that also gives positive may prevent growth. A good balance involves recognizing strengths while also pointing out areas for improvement. Fourth one, builds trust. Finally, effective feedback builds trust. When people know that feedback is given respectfully and with good intentions, they see it as support rather than criticism. Trust grows when employees realize their leaders and colleagues genuinely want them to succeed. Over time, this creates a culture where feedback is not feared but valued as part of continuous growth. Here is a quick reflection. Think about the last piece of feedback you received. Did it feel constructive, specific, and balanced? Or did it leave you uncertain? Reflecting on your own experience help us improve not only how we give feedback, but also how we receive it. Okay, so now let's go a step further and look how to give feedback effectively. First, use feedback sandwich, which means one well-known technique is the feedback sandwich. This means starting with something like positive, addressing the area for improvement, and then ending up with another positive. For example, your presentation was really engaging. One area to improve is speaking a little slower for clarity. Overall, though, your storytelling really captured the audience. Got the point? Second, focus on actions. Feedback should always target actions or behaviors, not someone's personality. Third, give timely feedback. Timing is another critical factor. Feedback is more effective when given soon after the behavior occurs. If you wait too long, the details fade and the impact is lost. Fourth, avoid defensiveness. Finally, feedback should be delivered in a way that minimizes defensiveness. This means being respectful, using settings when possible, and focusing on improvement rather than blame. To wrap up, effective feedback techniques include using the feedback sandwich, focusing on actions instead of personality, giving feedback in a timely manner, and avoiding defensiveness. Practicing these techniques not only makes feedback more useful, but also strengthens the trust and professional relationships. Conflict is something every group experiences. This slide highlights some key principles for resolving conflicts effectively. First, natural in groups. Conflicts are really natural in groups. In any time you have diverse people working together, disagreement will happen absolutely. Whether it's over ideas, priorities, or methods, that's not a bad thing. In fact, healthy conflicts can spark creativity and lead to better solutions. Second, communication resolves in conflict. The most important tool for resolving conflict is communication. Avoiding the issue often makes things worse. Clear, respectful dialogue helps uncover the real causes of conflict and prevent misunderstanding. Third, listening reduces tension. Another powerful tool is listening. When people feel heard, their defensiveness decreases and tension goes down. Fourth, Empathy ensures fairness. Finally, empathy ensures fairness in conflict resolution. Empathy means stepping into the other person's shoes and considering their viewpoints. To wrap up, conflict is natural in groups, but with good communication, active listening, and respectful manners. Okay, so in today's global world, communication often crosses culture boundaries. Whether in business, education, or travel, we interact with people from different culture backgrounds every day. So this slide has some key aspects of cross-culture communication. First, different language. One of the most obvious barriers is language. Even when people speak with same language, accents or slangs or idioms can create confusion. For example, an English phrase like hit the ground running makes senses in one culture but could be confusing or meaningless in another. Second, gestures vary across cultures. Another fascinating challenge is gesture. A gesture that means something positive in one culture can mean something very different or even bad in another. Third, respect diversity. For example, in some cultures, hierarchy plays a major role and addressing someone by their title is important. In others, a more informal first name basis is in the norm. Respecting these customs shows culture and sensitive build trust. Fourth, vital for global teamwork. In global organizations with teams spread across continents, cultural awareness helps collaboration flow smoothly. Strong cross-cultural skills are not just about avoiding misunderstandings, they are about building bridges and creating stronger global partnerships. So, to sum up, cross-cultural communication requires awareness of language, gestures, and customs, as well as respect for diversity. These skills are vital in a globalized world where teamwork often spans countries and cultures. Isn't about like words, it's also about emotions. This is where emotional intelligence, or you may say EI, comes in. EI is the ability to understand and manage both your own emotions and emotions of others. Because they connect with people on a deeper level, let's look at how EI strengthens communication. First, involves empathy and awareness. The foundation of emotional intelligence is empathy and self-awareness. Empathy allows us to understand how others are feeling, while self-awareness helps us recognize our own emotional state. Second, manages conflict. EI is also critical for conflict management. In disagreements, emotions often run high. A leader with strong EI stays calm, listens carefully, and helps both sides feel understood. By managing emotions, EI prevents escalation and guides conflict towards constructive solution. Third one, strengthens leadership. High emotional intelligence strengthens leadership can because people naturally connect with leaders who are understanding, approachable, and composed under pressure. Imagine two managers delivering feedbacks. One focuses on the task while the other considers the employee's feelings, delivering feedbacks respectfully and constructively. Fourth one, builds trust. Finally, emotional intelligence builds trust. When people feel that their leaders and colleagues truly get them, not just their work, but their emotions, they are more open with them. Emotional intelligence strengthens communication by fostering empathy and awareness, helping manage conflicts, enhancing leadership, and building trust. Whether in personal or professional setting, AI transforms communication into connection. Communication has always evolved from letters to telephones to emails to now to AI powered tools. All right. Today, we are living in an era where technology is deeply shaping how we connect. Tools like ChatGPT, video conferencing, and collaboration platforms are changing communication at work and beyond. But as we look toward the future, one thing is clear. While AI can support us, human empathy and connection remain irreplaceable. Let's have a look on points. AI tool assist communication. One of the biggest strengths in the AI use, like in the use of AI tools to assist communication. AI can summarize long documents, translate languages in real time, and even help draft professional messages quickly. However, it's important to remember that AI doesn't replace human communication. It supports it. AI can improve efficiency, but only human brings emotional depth and judgment to conversation. Second, virtual meetings dominate. The second shift is the dominance of virtual meetings, especially after the pandemic. Platforms like Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and Google Meet even have become the norm. Teams that used to work in the same offices are now spread across different cities or even different continents, while having an option of work from home. This brings incredible opportunities for global collaboration, but it also introduces new challenges like Zoom fatigue and loss of non-verbal cues and time zone differences. Third, blend human and AI. The most exciting possibility is blending human strengths with AI efficiency. Imagine a meeting where AI takes notes automatically, summarizes key decisions, and even suggests action items, while humans focus on creative thinking and relationship building. Fourth one, human empathy is vital. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, human empathy remains vital, no matter how advanced technology becomes. It can't truly feel or connect on a human level. The future of communication will be shaped by AI tools, dominated by virtual collaboration and powered by the blending of human and machine strengths. But no matter how advanced technology gets, human empathy will remain the foundation of real connection. Okay, so as we came to the conclusion of this presentation and the session, let's take a moment to reflect the journey we have covered. We have looked at storytelling, communication barriers, feedback, conflict resolutions, and emotional intelligence, cross-cultural communication, and even the future of AI. Combine all skills. Effective Effective communication is not just about speaking clearly, it's all about combining different skills like verbal, non-verbal, written, and digital. Requires empathy and clarity. At the heart of all communication is empathy and clarity. Without empathy, our words can feel empty. Opens leadership opportunities. Strong communication is also the gateway to leadership. Leaders who can articulate vision, inspire others, and handle conflicts with empathy naturally earn trust. I'm really sorry. Okay, so the third one, open leadership opportunities. Strong communication is also the gateway to leadership. Leaders who can articulate visions, inspire others, and handle conflicts with empathy naturally earn trust. Fourth one, connects people and ideas. Finally, communication is the bridge. It connects people to people, like each and every person to person, people to ideas, and ideas to opportunities. It breaks barriers, foster understandings, and enable progress. So as we move forward, remember this, communication is not just about transmitting information. It's about building relationships, inspiring changes, and creating opportunities by mastering communications. You don't just improve your career, you improve your ability to connect with the world. Thank you, and I wish you all the very best in your communication journey.